welcome back to lesson 2 of overcoming low self-esteem. I got my 2 empaths with me. They are the most awesome of all time. Yes, I got the greatest ones. Now, before we get started, because I think lesson 1 was absolutely brilliant. I'm using that as like what the English do. The people in Britain like brilliant, like amazing. Okay, I don't mean brilliant because I did the class. I mean brilliant because it was amazing. The energy here and there and the content. So, before we get started, because this week, or this lesson, we're going to talk about understanding depression. Then I'll jump back to low self-esteem, but we need to understand depression for many reasons, okay? We just need to understand depression. Okay, write that down. Good. So, let us now talk about what we've learned thus far in this class. And it's been good. You guys said a lot of things off camera. So let's get some confessions going on. Both of you are going to talk. I'm ready.
So, I learned where my low self-esteem started.
Okay, so I said something, and I didn't know I was saying it, but you were like, oh my God, it makes so much sense. So what was that?
It was so my low self-esteem was told to me indirectly. I consider my mother a beautiful woman, but I remember, now, please forgive me, so my name's not being said so nobody knows. I love you, Mama. My mother used to be a 28W. She's now a 16. I know this to be true because I can fit her clothes now. But when she was that 26, 28W, when she was that, she was still beautiful to me.
Oh, those are men? Those are clothes sizes?
Those are clothes sizes.
Okay, so break that down for us men.
So
I had no idea what you were talking about.
I apologize.
No, that was great.
So so I'm going to do 12 for an example. So you have a 12P, which is 12 petite, which is for the really short women, the really short, tiny women. Then you have a regular 12, which is for the average size woman. Then you would have a 12W, which they don't even start in the W's, but I'm just using that. You'll have a 12W, which is for the women who's a little bit more wider. So imagine being 26, 28,
Okay.
W.
I understand.
That was my mother's struggle.
Got you. I understand.
And this is after having 2 children. Because I saw the pictures before children.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, wow, that was my mama. But I always saw my mother as a beautiful woman. But her image of herself, when she processed it, she wasn't beautiful. She was overweight. She was heavy. She was fat. She had her scars. She had this. She had that. That's why I also think, I used to wish I was a little darker so my stretch marks wouldn't show.
Wow.
Because my mother had stretch marks and she didn't like her stretch marks. I used to wish my hair was a little bit lighter. Because my mother's hair is jet black and it's coarse. So I used to want my hair to be lighter because she didn't like that. So my mother's self-image of herself, her self-esteem indirectly affected my self-esteem. So when I was told, you look like your mother, instead of me going, oh, thank you, in my head, oh, well, my mama don't like how she looks, so if I look like my mama, there's no way I can possibly like how I look.
Wow. You were freeing somebody. Like, seriously, you are doing a good job.
As much, and I used to tell my mother, oh, Mom, she would look at herself and be like, this just don't fit right. Mom, what you talking about? You're beautiful. Because my mother, till this day, she's still beautiful to me.
Your mother's beautiful. I've seen your mother.
Yeah, and she rarely smiled. But when she did, it's like the whole room lit up. But she didn't see that part. But I did. But regardless of how much I told her, being her child, and children have no filters. So why not believe your child? Yeah. But because of that, that's how I started oh, because I look just like my mother. And it got to a point where I used to hate when people told me that.
Right.
You know, I used to be in a relationship where that was told as an insult to get me to lose weight.
Wow. Wow.
You know, so that impacted it even more. That pushed me more into low self-esteem, not even borderline depression. I was depressed.
Oh no, yeah. When I came across you here not too long ago, you were walking dead. That's what.
Literally.
Yes.
I was. Like, I can admit that. I was the walking dead. Zombified and all. That was that. That's what I took from that.
No. That's, you just helped. There's a parent out there, like you just liberated someone.
It helped me.
And you're a parent.
My son is 2.
So, would you like to be teaching your son your negative view of yourself?
No, I don't. Because I don't want... I chose to make a change after my son was born because I realized I had a problem. And I realized I didn't want him to have that same problem. So what can I do to prevent him from having that same problem? I had to learn.
Most certainly. In fact, this is amazing. First off, there's not a parent. Well, I'm sure there's some. There's an exception to every rule. There's some terrible parents out there, but for the most part, parents don't want you going through their struggles. Like, the whole point is, I want you to have a better life than me.
Mm-hmm.
What we discovered, and I say there's only 1 or 2 ways somebody put it on you, or it happened indirectly, vicariously, right? Which is the same word. Vicariously is a $10 word for indirectly. Basically, your mother indirectly impacted your self-esteem because a perfect storm hit. Your hero didn't like the way she looked, and people kept saying, you look just like the hero that doesn't like the way they look. So it was a perfect storm. It was, boom, out came you with Great Depression, living 80 years behind the Great Depression, right? It's terrible. Good. Great. That was awesome. And you learned something. What did you learn from lesson 1? You learned plenty. Your notepad has 9 pages of notes right now. It's pretty good though. It's pretty good. Would you like? I can like embarrass you. Just grab the tablet and show the. Okay, don't not do that. Okay. So what did you learn?
I don't know if I learned, maybe reinforced something.
Sure.
That my behavior is my self-esteem. So when I'm angry or when I shut down or, you know, that's my self-esteem popping out.
That's good. That's good. My anger is my low self-esteem popping out. Please, let's open this up. This is how I've got. We're going to talk about this and depression, but this is. In fact, I'm going to do this every class. Have this because listen, guys. The questions and experiences that you guys are bringing up, they're so relevant and personal. No one can teach this. I can't teach real life. Nobody can do that. That's not how it works. These are real, authentic stories. Does that make sense? This is why most of our classes will always have a I want to say studio audience, right? I want to say that, but that's why I say student audience. I don't want us to. This isn't for show. Right? We're trying to help people, but nothing wrong with studio audience, but student audience. My anger when I shut down, as you didn't see it, but she rolled her eyes to herself. When I shut off from people, that's my low self-esteem. Why? Tell me that. Like, open it up. Someone didn't understand that. Break it down more.
Normally when I shut down, I either feel overwhelmed by the situation or the environment, or I don't feel worthy enough to be there.
Let's clap for that. Yeah, okay. Let's open up both of those. I'm overwhelmed by the environment or the situation, or I don't feel worthy enough to be there. Is that a low self-esteem struggle? Back over here to you. Do you feel like is that a struggle you have, or do you know someone who has that struggle?
It's a struggle I have.
Which part? I'm overwhelmed by the environment or the people, or I just don't feel worthy enough to be here.
Both.
Okay, now we get something deep is about to happen here. So let's open it up. Both. Go ahead.
When you have low self-esteem, you think low of yourself. When you think low of yourself and you're around other people that you deem are better than you, more worthy than you, you tend to shut down because you don't think you're worthy of that situation. You're not worthy of that environment. You actually do sabotage it as well. You purposely do things to get pushed out. You purposely do things to get shut out, or you purposely shut yourself out because it's too much. It's too much for you because you don't think you're worthy of any of it, so you shut yourself out of it.
Wow. So it's better to be kicked out of it and to say, well, I knew that was going to happen, because that's what you really want, than to actually stay in it
And push through it.
and be reminded of how much you don't want to be here. Excuse me. How much you don't feel you're worthy enough to be
You
here.
don't fit.
Okay. Give me some more. There's something else in there. There's something else in there. I'm looking at you. It's. Go ahead. Say that thing you try not to say. It's okay.
Repeat what she said.
I shut down because I'm overwhelmed by the people or environment, or I don't feel worthy enough to be there.
It also comes from that wanting to be loved, wanting to be liked. So when you're in an environment of people and you have all the attention and then slowly the attention kind of comes off you, it's an overwhelming feeling of, oh my God. Like, I have to go back to, you start pulling back, you start isolating yourself, you start cutting yourself off, because it's like, it's the overwhelming feeling of, okay, I'm about to be by myself. I knew this was going to happen, so let me just back off now so I don't get my feelings hurt.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. You're doing great. Great. There can't be no right or wrong answers here.
You just...
Okay, so stop right there. Stop right there, because you was about to do it, but you're not ready yet. Okay, so that'll probably come up later on when you're ready, or next lesson. You didn't see it because when you ripped your own skin off, she was about to cry. Okay, and I'm sure you felt it because you have empathy, right? And then you were just about, I don't want you to do it now because you're not ready. Okay, you're not ready. But, and this, it's okay. So I'm not here to make you cry. However, there was something there that you said, which is so powerful, which means that somebody out there, one of you guys, you were hit by it. I was hit by it. I've watched you do that over and over again and never knew that was why. Like, you educated me. That was amazing.
Well, some of it has to do with being an introvert. But I have to define in my head, am I being an introvert or do I feel unworthy? So it may look the same, but I know the different feeling inside, I guess.
Yeah.
So if it's not draining my energy, if it's just nervousness about being here or just uneasiness, then that's my low self-esteem popping up.
Yeah.
If it's just overwhelmed because it's too many people, or the energy is too high, or I'm not charged enough for this, then I know that's me, my personality popping up.
Yeah.
So it's a thin line.
No, it's thin line. It's definitely thin line. I will say, well, hold on. Did you? You okay? I'm gonna share first. Okay. You got something to share, but I'm saving you. I'm like, it's twice. I'm jumping on the grenade. I'm jumping on the grenade. Trying not to let you. I'm trying to keep it for going. You know, it'll come out when it's supposed to come out. But I'm jumping on the grenade again. Let me share. You can have. So I have high levels of confidence. It's just off the chart, and you can still have low self-esteem while having massive areas and massive levels of confidence. Mm-hmm. Do not get that twisted. You can be, I know people who are overly gorgeous, like DNA just got it right with them. Mm-hmm. But that's the only thing they're confident about. Everything else, they have low self-esteem in. Mm-hmm. Their hair is the prettiest. Their smile is the prettiest. Their body, all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But them, they don't like. Mm. In my case, I graduated from one of the top universities in the nation, in American. I know we're worldwide. Worldwide. So the American nation. And I had to put inside my class ring, "You belong, Tony." Because graduating as a president of the Honor Society, I still didn't feel like I belonged with certain people. This is important. Let me tell you how you can have it all and still struggle. Graduating, many people don't get to do that. I'm a homeless black guy from America. So society, family, politics, everything told me where I belong. So when I get out of the trash can, literally, get out the army and then start going to college, I still don't. Now watch this here. Let's programming, okay? Something in me still didn't feel like I belonged around smart people. Mm-hmm. I'm not done. And I didn't feel like I belonged around white people and succeeding. Mm-hmm. So I would always feel out of place, and I would shut down, not get to know anyone, because I never felt like I belonged in that area. No job, totally retired, made it out of whatever I was going through, totally successful, people working for me, and a personal assistant, and I still don't feel like I belong. Because you can have high levels of confidence and still suffer from low self-esteem, especially in some areas. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. We're gonna let you make it. You good? She says I'm good with the broken voice. You good? I know. I jumped on the grenade.
Thank you.
Yeah. Buy me a Coke after this. Okay. Good. Okay. Understanding depression. Okay. Depression is a condition characterized by low mood. Yes. That's a word that gets thrown around here a lot in the ATS companies, huh? Watch your mood. Watch your energy. Depression is a condition characterized by low mood. It affects a significant number of people at some time during their lives. Now watch this here. Let's just go up to 25% of people are at risk of depression. Now let's just sit back. And then, actually, up to 25% of people suffer from depression at some point in their life. are at risk of suffering from depression at some point in their lives. One more statistic for you. And 3 times as many women are likely to be sufferers. Now, ready? Let's do it this way. There's approximately 7 billion people on planet Earth. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to get an exact figure here. So I'm going to take 7. So, here we have it. You're talking about if up to 25% of the people on the planet have depression. Let's do a good roundup. That means 2 billion people. 7 billion people. 2 billion of them are at risk of depression. That means every 1 in 4 people you see today are at high risk of depression. And additionally, it's a 3 times more likely chance that one person will be a woman. Did any of you know that depression was that serious? Mm-hmm. Yes. Both my empaths knew that. Why do people with empathy understand that depression is so serious?
Because you feel it.
You feel it how? Go give it to me.
You walk by somebody and feel like they're on the verge of breaking on the inside.
Do they ever look like they're going to break on the outside?
No, because we don't want to put that out.
So they're pretty on the outside, dressed up, dolled up, they're on the suits, briefcases, heels.
I've seen it.
You've seen depression on the outside. Oh yeah, once you get into it, depression will show up on the outside, that's for sure.
Like, I used to work in the apartment industry.
Ah, true.
And it's to always be told, you're too nice. You're too nice. I've had residents come in my office and just break down crying because the moment they walk in the office, I see them and I can feel their sadness. And I'll ask them. I may not have like the best rapport with them, but they may be that resident that I only see once a month when it's time to pay rent. Are you okay today? And they'll look at me and shake their head yes. And I'm like, okay.
You know, sometimes all it takes is somebody to check on you. You're holding it all together and it's like the dam finally breaks. They check on you and after that the floodgates open up. Right?
That's exactly what happened.
You're okay? And it just goes. Now, you say you see it. You say you see it and you see it openly. Let's go back to you. So we don't let each other see each other like that.
Mm.
So depression is a dirty little secret that's a disease killing people.
Especially for women.
Especially for women.
Mm-hmm.
So what would you say? Somebody here, somebody watching. Mm-hmm. There's still no doubt about it. And space-time continuum respects empathy, and empathy the same.
Mm-hmm.
So you can feel who they are. And you guys, especially you, empathy's so high, you probably have a face for them and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What would you tell this person? Just
That's depressed but masking their pain?
go ahead.
No, I'm asking them.
I wasn't asking specifically, but your empathy saw that person. So don't let me stop you.
Being depressed doesn't make you weak.
Mm.
You don't have to hold it all together all of the time. It's okay to reach out and cry or vent or let it out. It's okay to talk to a therapist. It's okay to take medication. It's okay to check yourself into the hospital. If you need the help, don't be ashamed of it or made to feel like, especially in some cultures, you don't need you're alright. You can pray about it. That's not the best advice.
No. Not always.
That's not, I'm not going to say that's not good advice, but Jesus is okay with you talking to a therapist.
Fair enough.
You're not less of a Christian. You're not less of a woman because you're depressed.
Wow.
You're not less of a soldier or a veteran if you suffer from depression. You're not less of a man if you're depressed. Wow. You're less than if you pretend like everything's okay and you're not. You're actually causing yourself damage and those around you damage.
Wow.
Just be yourself. Just be honest.
Wow. Hey, that was a word that somebody needed that. Wow. I love how these classes start off. I love how they do. So depression shows up. Depression can show up in many different ways. I'll give you a few of them. Your energy level. Your memory. Your ability to sleep. She's writing down, circling. I know someone. Your concentration levels. Yes. Your appetite. Watch this last one. And your sex life. Yes. So let's we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it. Let's get it done. Talk about it. So when I say energy levels, both of your faces lit up. Like, oh my God, that's so the truth. Right? Everybody had something to say. So how can depression show up in you? Just give some examples. So whatever you want to say, free talk about it.
You're always tired.
Always tired.
You have no energy to do anything, not even to get out of bed.
Not even to get out of bed.
To eat, therefore, lack of appetite.
Fair enough. Mm-hmm. Now, what's the only time you will have energy when you're in that? Because I can only think of one. If you don't have energy to get out of bed and you're always tired, there's only one other emotion I can see happening if someone forces that person to get out of bed. There's only one.
You gotta use the restroom and get out of bed.
Mm-hmm. Anger.
Oh man, let me go to this job.
Yeah, anger. Right? Oh, I gotta get up. I told y'all be quiet in there. Right? It's the only one. Right? It's my energy's so low, but the only time you can find enough energy to do anything is to be angry. Now, be in a relationship like that. This is why a lot of us have terrible relationships, because you never fix you and you take you to the new thing and you break it. Right? And so here's what happens. You have your emotional level up. You have your depression level up, and your energy's down. So the only time the person ever really gets to see the true you is when you're mad at them. Think about that. Think about that. Mm-hmm. They always seeing you depressed, and so they always have to fix you. And then when they're not fixing you, you're ruining them. That's what depression looks like in a relationship. When you don't have to be fixed, you're nailing them over the head with your hammer. And then if they leave, you manipulate them to stay, because when you're in depression, you really want, it's not that you want help, you just want to continue to act out that depression. And you can't act out that depression alone, because misery loves company. I'm not saying you can't be alone to be depressed. I'm saying in most cases, if I'm angry, I need for you to know that I'm angry. Does that make sense? This is why we punched a hole in the wall. I can't just be angry. I I have to kick over the trash can and be angry. Because there's no point in me being angry, and you're ill, and you're not affected. I need you to be ill affected, right? I need for you to feel that I am angry. Also feel that I'm depressed. So you don't go anywhere either. We'll both stay here and be alone. Be miserable. We did that as kids, remember? You were bored in your house, so you went over to your friend's house just to be bored over there? Right? You're laughing, but it's true, right? What we gonna do? I'm just bored. We just sit over there and be bored. So it shows up in your energy levels. Memory. You're so depressed, you're just not paying attention to things.
Oh, you miss so much.
You said that lesson one. You miss out on you. And if you're missing out on yourself, you're sure enough missing out on everyone else.
So they don't want you around.
No. Successful people will avoid you. That's for sure. That's for a different class, but I will open it up. You're missing out on what you would call blessings or divine connections or breakthroughs or income because you're depressed. I can't even put you into a leadership position because I'm looking for someone willing to be able to lead in adversity, and you can't even be happy in peace. So yes, that was a different class, but that's the truth. You will miss out on so much. And since you're depressed, you're not paying attention to anything but your own depression. So by default, you're just not paying attention to anything. How can you remember what you're not listening to or looking at? All right, that makes sense. Sleep, the inability to sleep.
Thinking about all the sadness.
Think about all the sadness.
So you watch, so you can't sleep, and then, like, I know me personally, however I'm feeling, I watch movies that solidify that feeling.
That is a terrible thing to do.
So like when I'm feeling sad, I watch love stories and.
You only watch them for the points that you can be sad though.
Like that sad part, and then I start crying. But now I watch them because I'm like, ooh, let me see how this love story ends. I watch it for the ending of it because I'm a romantic.
That's good.
But yeah, or you watch Hallmark movies.
Well, those are good.
There's always a sad portion in it, and you just get to that part, you just boo. Oh my god! And so because of how you're feeling, because that is so strong. Because I used to just watch them all night because I couldn't sleep, and so while I'm watching them, I'm playing my own life in my mind.
Right.
So I can't sleep because I have all this sadness in me, and then when I do get to sleep, I dream sad, so I wake up sad. And like you can't rest either because self-esteem.
Wow.
Well, self-esteem also brings stress.
Wow. I go to sleep sad, so I dream sad, and
I wake up sad.
Wow. All I had to say about that was you sleep all day, you can't sleep at night.
That too.
Well, you know.
You don't have the energy because you were up all night binge watching something, or you couldn't sleep because you were so focused on the sadness in your life, and then you go to sleep sad and you wake up sad and you just repeat the same thing over and over again.
That's right. And remember, guys, as it was said from this corner, it doesn't make you less of a person to seek help. It doesn't. You're not less of a veteran because you need to talk to somebody. You're not less of a Christian because you don't only want to pray about it. Seeking help doesn't make you weaker. If help makes you stronger, then seeking help makes you intelligent. Fair enough?
Very.
Yeah. And she said that's all the reason why I didn't seek help. It makes sense. It makes total sense. All right, concentration, ability to sleep, appetite, and sex. Well, then you have to break those down. I don't know anybody that can eat sad. And if you do eat while sad, you overeat while sad, and you eat the wrong things. Let's get this gallon of ice cream, since we're in the South. Bluebell reigns supreme, and I just need a spoon. Which one you got?
Bacon ultimate cheeseburger. a large Dr. Pepper, a large curly fry, 2 cheesecakes.
Okay, you sound like you ordered that before.
That's my depression meal.
That's your depression meal. So I want heart attack with stroke
And depression.
and depression.
And low self.
Make my low self-esteem curly, and then give me 2 orders of.
Kill yourself.
Okay, gotcha. That's what we got.
This is the icing
Although
on
I
the
like
plate.
cheesecake, so let's not.
Well, for that meal,
let's just
that's
say
not healthy.
Two orders of masking my depression. Let's say that.
Okay, that'll
We
work.
don't want to talk about cheesecake. Cheesecake is up there with banana pudding. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
It is.
Okay, so you do like cheesecake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you're human again. You messed up with the banana pudding, but you're back human.
So if that's the case,
Okay,
there's a place.
she's okay now. No. We'll go ahead with the place.
Well, if that's the case, there's a place that has New York style cheesecake pancakes with strawberry toppings. Just thought I should let you know.
What place is it? Go ahead and put it on camera. Maybe they'll sponsor us one day.
IHOP.
Okay, IHOP. You owe me $3,500. No, I'm just playing. Just joking. All right. IHOP is okay though. IHOP is good. Okay, great. Well, so some of the ways affecting, some of the ways we are affected by depression can be classified as our motivation. So here's what I have to say about that. Depression can lead to apathy, loss of energy, the feeling of this is pointless. I promise you, depressed people do not apologize. And if they do apologize, they apologize too much for everything.
I'm sorry, what is this? What are...
This is just, I'm giving you ways that depression can be classified.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to write down all the ways: motivation, emotion, thinking, behavior, physiology. I always have to concentrate to say that word. Physiology. Motivation, emotion, thinking, behavior, physiology. These are the classifications of how depression can hurt these areas. Number 1 is motivation, and that's, apathy, loss of energy. This is pointless. Number 2 is emotion. And I'll slow down and repeat. Okay, so some of the ways affected by depression, some of the ways we are affected by depression can be classified under motivation, depression that leads to apathy, loss of energy, feeling of this is pointless, emotion, low moods, the loss of capacity to experience pleasure. No matter what happens to you, it's just not good. This is definitely why sex would go out the window. So depressed, this is pointless, it doesn't feel good. Hey, let's go out to the club. No, I'm okay. Let's go catch a movie. No, it's not going to feel good either. It's not going to feel good. Yeah, you've been there before. Increase in negative emotions. This is all under emotion. Such as anger. Here's I see this in most of my clients. This next one. Resentment. Irritability, anxiety, and fear. Resentment. Let's talk about that one real quick. No, we gotta talk. I see this mostly in everybody. So, resentment. Quick Google search. Bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. Okay? You got that? Resentment. Okay, hold on. I'm going to go deeper. Resentment is bitter indignation at having been treated unfairly. Here are some synonyms for resentment. I see this in most of my clients. I'm telling you. I'll slow down. I'll repeat it while I'm slowing down. Resentment is bitter indignation, anger, and having been treated unfairly. Now here's the deal. You're not necessarily being treated unfairly. Your resentment makes you think everything is being unfairly treated towards you. Synonyms: bitterness, indignation, irritation, dissatisfaction, envy, jealousy, animosity. Okay, so now let's go back. Let's read that again. Depression, as far as the emotional classification can go, it can literally lead to you thinking everybody is treating you unfairly. And whoever the unfair comes from, you hate that person, but you hate what you're being compared to more than anything. Yes. I don't have to be like her. Don't compare me. Yes. Yes, please.
Or you compare yourself, and when you don't live up to it, you still resent that person, even though no one else compared you to that person but yourself.
And who do you resent the most in that situation?
Yourself.
And then when you resent yourself and no one ever wants to be wrong, it's a cycle and it comes back. Now the person that you resent yourself more, but now you have to hate them even more because they just offended you twice.
They made you feel that way.
They just hurt you twice. How dare them? And when that happens, death normally follows. I'm serious.
That's true.
People kill over that.
That's true.
I hate you because you're making me compare you and then making you hate yourself. Look at her sitting there smiling and I'm sitting here upset. Now I'm upset that she doesn't even notice me hurt. Now we have what they call a crime of passion. I stabbed someone 48 times. Because that's how angry I was at that person. I'm telling you guys, I'm not, this is serious. There's a reason why I brought up depression in number 2. This is serious. We have to talk about it because low self-esteem leads to depression. We have to break this down. We have to. Okay, number 3 in this. Low depression can affect your thinking. Okay, and then your thinking can affect your concentration and your ability to remember. Okay, now this is basically me reinforcing what we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Now you said it earlier. When you're depressed, you just keep thinking about depression. You have to put on a 90-minute movie just to stop thinking about it. But you only put on a movie that reinforces what you were thinking about. So you hate to be alone. So now you end up with manipulators in relationships because you're too afraid to be alone, because in alone you have to hear your own thoughts. While alone you have to feel how you feel about yourself. You must address the hatred you have for your own self while being alone. Your behavior. People with depression withdraw themselves, right? You said that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They withdraw themselves. People with depression withdraw themselves. And for you, you said, because I'm overwhelmed or I don't feel like I'm worthy of being in this place.
Mm-hmm.
So now you have no friends.
Mm-hmm.
And the friends you do have are probably manipulators.
Yep.
And if they're not manipulators, they love keeping you where you are so they can be the pretty friend.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Make sense?
Oh, yes.
Everybody in your life, if you've been in depression for a while, the people in your life are suspicious.
Yep. I see that.
They've kept you there. Anything you can account for, you can control. They kept you there. Or they allowed you to stay there. Physiology. I always want to go physiologically, right? So physiology. I'm gonna break this one down. It'll change your hormone levels. Your metabolism will slow down. This is literally, you will literally change. Your body is vibrating at a frequency. They call it homeostasis. There it is. Homeostasis. It's this constant level, this pH balance that you have. Your body becomes acidic. Disease comes from depression. Because your body isn't at the right pH balance to fight off disease. It's now creating disease. Depression's that powerful. So what causes depression? Let's break it down. There are many conditions. I won't cover them all. I don't think anybody on planet Earth can. Many conditions cause depression. There's not a single one cause for depression. However, it generally arises because we no longer feel that we are loved, cared about, or respected. I know that's my definition, backed up with science, but I assure you, when you no longer feel you're loved, and people don't care about you anymore, and for men, fellas, no longer feel respected, man, depression leads up. And where there is depression, there is also anger. And where there is anger, there needs to be an outlet. You're either going to kill you or kill someone else. Now, that'll be physically, or that will be you doing it psychologically. One way or the other. One way or the other. Here's what's crazy about depression. Depression can actually be inherited. And in your case, it could be accidentally passed down through a self-view. I can accidentally pass my self-hatred of myself down to my children. And science has backed up that we know there's some DNA, some chromosomes that, have passed this down. Anxiety, you can suffer from all these things. There's depression, that can pass it down. So depression can be passed down. One factor is likely to be stress. Okay, write down stress. Why do I have you write down stress? Stress can trigger depression. What does that mean? That means if you can identify what stresses you, you can also account for what depresses you. And if you keep yourself out of stressful situations, you can keep yourself out of depressive moods. Yes, please.
If you can identify what stresses you, you can
control what depresses you. If you can identify what stresses you, you can also control being in depressive situations. I think that's what I said originally. That means if death is over here and I see that, I now can choose to give it my energy or take my energy somewhere else. If you understand what stresses you, then you also understand what that stress is coupled with. People, places, a TV show. Like if you are, and I say this with, but I need to be real, but I say this with the greatest of respect. If you're a rape victim, which is terrible, you probably shouldn't watch shows about rape. Or the scenes, nobody makes shows about rape, but as addicting as Law and Order SVU may be, We dun 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 dun. We can all do that, right? You understand, right? Look. If you don't watch Law and Order, you're not human. Not just joking, but you're probably not though. But you understand what I'm saying? It comes on TV, and it always has a marathon. It just doesn't matter. Day is over. Law and Order's on. That's it. It's over. Right? Basically, that's the truth. But maybe
binge watching is associated with low self-esteem
There you
according
go.
to last class.
There you go.
So no, you don't do the marathon.
Don't do the marathons, right? But, unless it's Law and Order, and that's okay. But Special Victims Union may not be the show for you, right? They got another one, Criminal Intent. Those may be. I'm just simply saying, don't put yourself in a situation that reminds you, or that, not more scientifically or psychologically, that trigger your depression. It's like I have a cocaine problem, and I just got over it. Well, let's take it out of cocaine. Crack, okay? And I just got over it, which is the same thing, just modified differently. But now I am always in a crack house or in crack infested environments. I am triggering now my addiction. I haven't did it yet, but if I keep staying, I'm on my way. But you guys are doing the same thing, because the truth is, chemically, scientifically, neurologically, we're all addicted to our emotional states. The state you continue the most, your body has become addicted to those those hormones. Endorphin is a type of hormone. Those hormones, your body can't handle not having them. This is why people in depression, once they're happy, they have to self-sabotage. The body can't handle happiness. Chemically, it can't handle happiness. So it must do something to trigger depression. Because the only time you're truly happy is when you're sad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not happy until I'm sad. Being sad makes me sad, but it's the only time I'm happy. And so, watch how you keep yourself around these areas, around these things. Are all depressions the same?
No.
No. I knew this because of science, because this is what I do. She knew it because of empathy. And you knew it too because of empathy. All depressions are not the same. They can't be the same. And what works for me won't work for you. Does that make sense? And we may not even hurt in the same way. But the hurt is the same because it's damaging. But not the same. One of the worst things people can do, and you mentioned it earlier, one of the worst things people can do is say, well, just pray about it. That's not fair. Now, I'm not against religion. I'm obviously, my degrees are in some of my degrees are in this field, so it's okay. What I'm saying is, the way people say pray about it is to invalidate.
Get over it.
Get over it. Stop invalidating depressed people. That's dangerous. And it's unfair.
Yeah.
And then stop blaming the victim. Oh, you were just raped. Well, if you didn't have that on. What?
Exactly.
That makes no sense. But we do it all the time. And you live in an environment that always blames the victim. Your media blames the victim. I don't care what it is. If it's a woman, she shouldn't have been dressed this way. If they're black, they pull up their criminal record. It doesn't matter. It doesn't, it doesn't matter. If they're of Arabic descent, they show terrorism. We live in a society that always blames the victim for being a victim. We victimize the victims. Unfortunately, the only reason I said that because I want you to understand, you're programmed to victimize the victim. And there's too many people walking around here depressed, being victimized by people who are not going through the same situations. Just because your problem looks different from people doesn't mean that that person's problem is not a real problem. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, so how can we beat depression? Well, there's something called cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. Cognitive behavioral therapy. Now, I do a form of this, but you need to go see a licensed professional that does this. Cognitive, brain. Changing the way you think that changes your behaviors. You behave this way because you think a certain way. So let me change how you think and I'll change how you behave. Very effective. You got to rip your skin off, right? Because you got to actually be honest with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. You have to say, oh, I realized that my mom accidentally gave it to me. So that means if you ever have a problem with your mom, you don't get to have one anymore. It was an accident. She did the best she could with what she had. No, go ahead, please. Please, we've got a few minutes left and I wanna help people.
I think that's important to remember because a lot of people blame their parents for everything. I blame my mom because I'm depressed. I blame my lack of relationships on my father for leaving. But they did the best that they could with what they had. Maybe it's not to your standards, but at the time, they gave you 100% that they could. So if they left you, that was the best that they could with what they had at that time. Or if they was there and they had to work all the time, that was the best way they knew how to take care of you.
That's right.
So you gotta, I understand everybody don't have a great relationship with their parents, but you gotta cut them some slack because they're not you. You wasn't in that situation. That was your parents. And they did what they thought was the best choice for you. Or sometimes it was selfish and they thought they did the best choice for them. Yeah. But either way, they did the absolute best that they could do.
Absolute facts. My parents both left me for dead. Left me. I was homeless at 6. I didn't get out of Child Protective Services till 18. But because of what they did, I'm proud of the man I am today.
Exactly. You wouldn't be here if your parents had not left you.
Right. I wouldn't even be.
You wouldn't know who Antonio Smith is.
Not at all.
If your parents had not left you.
And I most certainly wouldn't be good at my job with this.
No.
Do you understand how broken you have to be addicted to learn how to help people? Like I am insanely good at this. Like insanely good at this. And then when I went to the Army, I want to say forced me to be military intelligence, but they made me military intelligence because of my test scores. I only did well in school because I was trying not to go back to the trash can I just came from when I got adopted. See what happens? Right? So from 14 to 18, I got adopted at 14. I was only smart because I didn't want to go back to the trash can. Number one. Then military intelligence taught me how to read people, facial expressions and stuff, all sorts of stuff. That's what they did. And I used that today. All because I was left for homeless at 6. Like I know all the science behind micro expressions and stuff. I know them all. I know it all because I was taught it. But now I can give people therapy, or I can do this. We call it coaching. I can coach people and see what you're actually saying to me through your facial expressions. And then see what you're actually struggling with. And I'm an active listener. If you rewind this thing, she says some things and I was repeating it because I wasn't an active listener until the Army taught me to be an active listener. But all that came because what she said. My parents did the best with what they had. The best they did with what they had. I would not be the man I am today if I blamed them.
No. None of us would be.
None of us. None of us at all. So, last thing I want to read to you.
Sorry.
No. The traditional way to treat mild and moderate depression has been prescribed to drugs of one sort or another. Okay? However, drugs do not address the underlying cause of your depression. They only treat the symptoms. They do not address the problem. That's the last thing I wanted to say to you. I just want you to know that just because you are taking medication doesn't mean you're actually being helped. If you're taking medication and being helped by a professional, then you're being helped. Mm-hmm. The medication is an aid for the help, but the medication is a Band-Aid on your gaping wound. And that's why the first thing I brought up was the cognitive behavior therapy, right? And those guys and gals, right? Since I said guy, I may be offensive. Since I said guys, the opposite of that is gals. Those women, the opposite of that is men. Okay, male, the opposite of that is female. So I wasn't trying to say gals to be demeaning. It's just guys, gals. Okay, so those professionals, regardless of their gender, people who do cognitive behavior therapy are amazing. They know their field. They're excellent. I invite you to Google CBT. That's what it's called. That's the acronym for it. In your area. If you need help, go out there and Google these people. Find them. And seek some help. If you're in depression. Mm-hmm. Depression's a bad place to be. The good thing is, if you got there, you can get out too. Thank you for coming out. God bless you. And good night.